While so many traders last week were looking to sell the Euro USD last week, I had a beautiful buy setup last week, but I took it and then I closed it out, and then it turned out to be an amazing, beautiful, beautiful trade. And, I just it's one of those ones you see and you're like, what in the world did I just do to myself? This was like a high hour trade. I'm saying if I held it long enough, this would have been an easy 6, 7 hour trade, but I didn't. Closed it out a bit too early and hurt myself. Well, I didn't hurt myself, however. It could have gone either way. But yeah, let me let me show you two things. I'm going to show you play and how it played out, and then what I'm doing to potentially go into the play. But because this looks like it has potentially set up for something good or set up for a long-term bullish run. Who knows how it's going to play out? But I'm just going to open this chart and then show you how this played out. So what we're looking at right now is the Euro USD pair for the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame. So again, I'll quickly run you through what you're looking at here. What you're looking at this moving average, the pink moving average is 200 moving average, the green is the 50 moving average, blue is the 20, and the yellow is the 10 moving average. These are my moving averages. This is my guidance. This is a lot of my trade. Most of these have to almost align for me to be considered a trade, except in like different certain situations. So this is the weekly time frame. Let me just do a quick playback to last week. So again, this is how obviously before the end of last week, this is what the beginning of last week looked like. So right there, this is what it looked like right there. So typically nothing is wrong with you looking to sell. It's a selling market. The moving averages are looking right. Everything is the 50, the 20, and the 10. Everything is lined up nicely, tilting to the downside. So it's all giving you direction to want to sell. But the big thing to always consider for me is that as a swing trader, I look at the market from most of the time the monthly, weekly, and the monthly, weekly, just to have like a guidance. So the biggest thing that I came across, the biggest thing that made me not want to, it's two things actually that made me kind of hold off on the trade is this major zone here. That's number one. Number two is the 200 moving average just lined up right there. And if you understand my system is I love when price is reacting from the 200 moving average in the weekly or the daily time frame. That is a beautiful setup in my own opinion, and that is a setup that I can swear by any day, any time of the week. So that made me I decided to just hold off on any other sales for now, just until we say that we broke below the moving average or just close below the support. Then I would have considered more sales, but until then I wasn't looking at that. So the second variation to consider before we move on to what happened into the week is this. All of this was a massive consolidation. This is this is almost a month. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like a month and a week of consolidation. When we weren't going back, we weren't going up. And if you understand trend and even if you understand trend reversals, most of the time when the market is looking to turn around or continue either one of them, it just kind of hovers around support, deciding what to do and what not to do. So that is what I saw, and that's why I refused to sell. In fact, for the past 1 month, I have not touched Euro USD because I understood that this was what was going on. So there was no swing trade opportunity there for me. So I just left that and focused on other things. So that is that for that. So we go into the daily time frame. Just to give you again, I still do a bar replay again, just to give you this was I'll start you off on Sunday. So I'm trying to keep this video as quick as possible. So I start you off on Sunday. So this is all of that consolidation we're talking about. No zero direction. So I stayed away from all of this nasty. My system is more of a trend following system. So all of this is going to hurt me. So I don't bother looking into this. So my plan is always to make sure that um price does some kind of breakout and pullback before I can continue to target the potential high, which is what excuse me, which is what I saw doing my analysis, doing my just looking through, doing my market walkthrough last week. It wasn't a full close because I like a nice close above that. So, but we didn't do that. However, we closed above the close price. If I bring you close, you can see right there. I'm just going to get my okay right there. This candle we did close right above. And if you use the line tool just for that, you can see we closed right above the line. Okay, so this was my first intention. This was my first possibility for a buy. So I'll take you to the H4 time frame as well, just to clarify this for you as well. So this was what I saw last week, and the price had already pulled right back all the way to the beginning of this zone. So I'm just going to take you to H4. I think it's going to be a lot more clearer on the H4 time frame. I'll take you back to that where that potential breakout happened. So that's it right there. So on the H4 time frame, you can see again, it's not rocket science. You can see the breakouts happening clearly on the breakouts right there. Structure right there. We have that. We have this break of structure right there, letting you know that buyers are defending this zone, protecting it. We don't want to go lower than that. We had that break of structure. We had this pullback. All of this pullback. And then we had this intention again to potentially go higher, which was that daily breakouts. So again, I wasn't interested in sales when this was happening. So most people I know did sell here. And again, there was nothing to sell for. There was no you weren't wrong if you were trying to sell because this was a purely selling market. This was a rejection from the 200 moving average. If you look at it on the lower time frame again, if you remember what I said, 200 moving average on the even on the daily time frame, if it is pro trend, I will take that as well. So we let's quickly go more sell candles, nothing. But one thing to always consider, the biggest question I ask is this break of structure. What low led to that high? That's the question. You know, it was right there. So if we are able to successfully close under this invalidates the buy idea entirely. But if we see some intention to sell off to buy, then this is a good place. So what did we do? Again, for the people who trade inducement and all of that, all of this was all liquidity. All of that is all liquidity. So it just validates the buy here. But I refuse to put the pending order here. I did not put it. I did take this trade, but I closed it out earlier. If like I said on the previous video. So I didn't put the pending order here. If this was a pro bullish, if the bullish trend had already started, this was a successful. I would have put a pending order and walked away, but I didn't do that. So we keep playing the replay back to you can see that. So if again inducing people to almost buy here, because again you can consider this a break of structure as well. This was a break of structure right there. This was a break of structure right there. So it's logical to want to buy from here. This is all trend line. This is first bounce, second bounce, third bounce is always the move. Okay, and then we'll touch it and then we'll take it out. Meanwhile, I'm sitting down and patiently waiting for this zone to come, for price to come and interact with this zone. This is a price point of 135, 370. So I haven't moved an inch. I haven't done anything. I have not taken any plays, nothing. Price interacts with my zone. I quickly go down to the 15-minute time frame. And what do we see there? We go into the 15-minute time frame. Yeah. So as soon as we go into the 15-minute time frame, I take my trade from right there. If I wasn't mistaken, take my trade from right there. Stops below. Uh, nah, just to make it a bit clearer, I'm just going to clear out the. There we go. So now play it forward. Just push a couple candles forward. There we go. So no, not that one. Uh, Push this one because this was my end. This candle, I remember this candle was my entry candle. So I'm just going to push it back down just a tad bit, just for you to see. So I took my pending order. I was waiting for price to close right above there to give me the confirmation that I can buy. I can go higher. So right there was I was waiting for price to close there. And what do you know? This candle confirmed it, closed above that. I took my pending order, and this was a quick entry. I put my pending order right there, stops above there, stops below there. So the second candle, good. This candle tags me in. Sorry about that. This candle tags me in, and then we are away. So I was trying to target somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken, or just higher, because I did believe that I was targeting high on the bigger time frame, but we kept on going, and this is where I got shook out. This is where I got shook out when we started doing the pullback right there. Uh, yeah, somewhere around there, I took my break even point at around this point. That's where I took my break even point. I just took it as like, I'm on that mindset where, what, just take something off of the trade. So I ended up thinking the right thing to have done was close 50% of the trade and allow the rest run to see what happens. But I didn't do that. So I closed out the whole thing. Again, I closed it out because I had certain rules placed for me to be able to hold the trade longer. And those parameters had not been met in any way. So I was very skeptical about wanting to take a loss off of knowing fully well that I didn't follow my rules. So I simply just cut the trade out. So, and I just tell you what happened. Price never came back to my break even. And that's about what happened. You know what? For the sake of this video, for the sake of time, just go straight to the H4 time frame. So there you go. You can see what happened. We had this massive impulse. I think this was news. This was a news catalyst. I'm not sure. And then we had more, and we had more, and we had more. So that was my trade, but I ended up not being. What was this? A 1 to 7 hour? Horrible. So you can imagine me coming back and seeing this massive impulse, and I'm thinking to myself, yes, maybe it'll come back. And I wasn't thinking to myself it was going to come back. I knew it wasn't going to come back. So what I was waiting for, and I'll show you what I was waiting for. So again, my rules is like for me to take a trade. The major thing is like my foundation of my system is on the daily time frame. I have to see a breakout on the daily time frame. There was no breakout on the daily time frame. If I took this back to where we were at this point, there was no breakout on the daily time frame. There was nothing to let you know on this time frame that we were getting ready to buy or it was okay to buy. There was nothing. So that was why I was skeptical. That's why I didn't hold the trade. The lack of confidence to want to hold the trade. So because I'm currently still holding a trade now that I had over since last weekend, since last week. That hasn't quite gotten to my TP yet. I'm still holding it. So I do not have a problem holding. But I'll have a problem holding when it doesn't meet my requirements. So that is where um yeah that is where that is the reason why I actually never I didn't hold this trade long enough. So if we go back to what price is right now, now we have a clear breakout. We have a clear breakout and intention to buy. So what am I doing? I am just looking for Again, key thing to take into account now is all my 50 moving average is most the immediate ones, the 50, 20, and 10 are beginning to tilt to the upside, giving me a bit more confidence that I can hold, I can I can engage this markets at will. So I am looking to, if you simply take out the Fibonacci sequence, because I believe that this is the first impulse to the first impulse, buy impulse to allow us travel all the way back to the top or all the way back to any of the swing points. That one, or the closest one we can talk, that one, or perhaps this one. So this is the first impulse. So what am I looking for again? Like I said, trend following. Sorry about that. Trend following. I'm waiting for this is first impulse. I need some kind of pullback into 50% or below 50%. So this is my area right there. This is where I'm looking to want to engage in all of this. I want to be able to be a buyer in that area. I want to be able to be a buyer in that area. So if price comes back in here, I will look to engage the market. So that is my plan to want to continue the trade. So before back in the day as a rookie, I'll be biting my fingers, being like, oh, this is like the end of the world. This is a move. This move is never going to happen again. But once you get to a point where you understand that it's the beginning of the move, so there's more moves to come. You just don't bother yourself with what you missed. You just focus on what the next thing is. So this is how this is how I missed out on a beautiful trade that would have potentially brought my accounts closer and closer and closer to break even. But no, none, regardless of the situation, the trade has played out, and I'm looking to continue. I'm looking for potential continuations, and this is my continuation setup because we've had this move right there. Just to where's the arrow? We've had something like that. We've had this. So we've had this move right there to just confirm to us that we can. This has done. This is a break of structure right there. So this is potentially where I'll be looking to take my continuation if price comes down in here. I'm very skeptical about putting the pending order here this moment, but I'll use a confirmation to enter this trade. Hopefully it gives me a better RR. If not, doesn't matter. And the other GBP USD, NZD USD, and AUD USD, they all have good setups. I'm looking at all of them to potentially take place, but this is the one that slipped up on me last week. So that's why I'm making this video. So I hope you like, subscribe, and subscribe and yeah, support the channel. I try my best to put out 2, 3 videos a week of what I'm looking at and what trade ideas I'm looking at. I'm a purely swing trader, so it takes a few days, sometimes a few weeks for a good setup to present itself, and then it takes the same a few days, a few weeks, a few days for the setups to get to the TP or potentially begin to build up to something. So if you're patient like that and you're not looking for quick gains and you just want to take it slow and steady, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. I will respond to any comment and every comment. This is a new channel. I'm new to YouTube. And yeah, peace.